I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, the podcast where two teachers unwind, sip wine, and each teach a lesson we can't teach at school. What are we drinking, Hayley?
We are drinking the pale rosé by Saka Likin, or maybe Sacha Lachine. Who knows? Lachine. All I know is that it is a rosé. The label is very cute. It's like
it is stunning
20s like poker party. It's all like pale white and green and pink, and the color scheme is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It looks like a classy summer wine. Like you just want to be in your preppy pink and green plaid, sitting on the patio drinking this rosé.
And that's what we need right now because the Memphis summer has arrived.
Holy shit, you guys.
And it's mad. It shows violence.
It shows violence like deliberately at us because the sun beams directly into this studio that is very small. It's like the size of my closet. And
okay, you have a big closet, to be fair.
But regardless, it is the size of my closet and huge window and very hot and no AC and no fan. And we're going to die.
Right. We do this for you, listener, just freaking like gaslight them.
I hope y'all are ready to hear us complain all summer.
All summer long.
Buckle up, baby.
I'm going to bring ice cubes and just like tape them to my forehead while we're recording.
We literally like start like sitting on ice packs. And
I get one of those wine bras, and instead of wine, I put just really cold ice in it, dry ice.
You could put cold wine in it.
Okay, that's an idea.
I'm just looking out for you.
Okay. Well, what wine? I mean, this rosé is good. I'm not a rosé person though. Have you ever tried cold red wine?
You could do like a red sangria.
Okay. All right. So that's an idea. Let me look up some wine bras on Amazon.
I'm so pissed. I got one for Christmas one year, like as a gag gift. I don't know if it was at a white elephant or something. And like, it was funny in the moment, but then I was like, I'm never going to use this. So I sent it directly to Goodwill. And I really missed the mark because then I got a podcast where it would have been perfect.
Yeah, that was a mistake. This just goes to show that you need to save everything.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to start hoarding. I was telling Hayley before we started recording that I bought like 4 giant storage bins and promptly filled them up with clothes from my closet, put them in the attic, and I'm just going to keep them until they come back in style.
Yeah, I never understood why my mom had so many clothes as a kid and why she never wore most of them. But now I get it. Like I said before, fashion just comes back around. Everything repeats itself. So we just save all of our clothes all the time, and then we won't have to buy as many new things later in life.
That's the theory anyway.
Right. Given that we stay the same size.
Right. Anyway, back to the wine. It is from our friends at High Point Grocery here in Memphis. And I really like this wine. Hayley's not a fan of rosé, but it's growing on me. And it tastes almost more like a white wine to me. It's like very light and fresh and beautiful. So definitely pick yourself up a bottle of this wine if you want something like that. And you can get it at High Point Grocery in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes, and that's 469 High Point Terrace. They're lovely. Check them out. And
the wine retails for $16.99?
Yes, it does.
Awesome.
Thank you for that reminder.
You're welcome. It's a little bougie, girl.
It is. You can tell by the label. If you're feeling bougie, this is the wine for you. Bougie and sweaty.
Sweaty?
It'll cool you down. It's a nice summer rosé.
It will. And I remembered to put it in the fridge today.
You always do. I know, so proud.
Because Mama does not drink warm rosé. No, ma'am. But I need to finish my current drink to get to this rosé. I have it's like a strawberry Angry Orchard cider, and I was skeptical, but it's freaking delicious. It's like so not good. Too sweet and tastes like strawberries. It's amazing.
That's the issue with me is that once I find a drink that I like, I want to stick to it because I don't want to spend money on something that I don't like and it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But with you, I get to try all these new things and I'm like, oh, I do like that. Now I get to just try new things on your dime, which is amazing.
You're welcome. Every time I go to the grocery store and buy beer, I try to get one beer that I know I like. So I've got these pecan brown beer, like ales that I know
amazing.
I like. They are amazing. And then I got something new and weird, which is my strawberry cider. And I am surprised that I liked it. I bought it because the cans were pink, but they actually taste good. So that's good.
All right. Checks out. Love that.
But yeah, it's been a great week. The Bachelorette is back on.
Oh my gosh, one of my friends from college texted me and he's like, hey, this is random, but you look like the Bachelorette. And I got a flashback. I think I did kind of in college because I did my hair different. And I think I was like, so I look like a basic white girl is what
I could kind of see
saying?
it. I mean, now I don't think you look like her at all, but when you straighten your hair, you kind of could.
Yeah,
I mean, you have like
thought.
the brown eyes and the brown hair and kind of like a round face, maybe.
Yeah, I think probably college, Hayley, junior, maybe senior year looked kind of like Katie, but yeah, I was like, oh, like thinking, I mean, like she's pretty, but I just thought of all of us like being like, wow, she's just like a basic white girl, basically.
Oh my God. We weren't that mean to her.
No, we weren't.
Yeah.
But she is.
I'm excited for Michelle's season, but I do support Miss Katie. I hope she finds love.
I'm really excited. I think my favorite part of this past episode was when the two guys, this is the first night that they met each other, and the one guy was like, I don't like you and I've never liked you.
Yeah, randomly. I mean, something must have happened that we didn't see, but a guy just went up to another guy and said that seemingly unprovoked.
Yeah, there was like some spat in the limo or something.
It must have been.
Or they're like brothers.
Oh. They must know each other before this or like on Insta. Because like what a crazy thing to say.
Can you imagine being so excited to go potentially meet your future wife and then you see like your arch nemesis show up? I would be upset too.
That's like Alec and I have been, as you all know, watching Ink Masters, and the season we just watched, it was like rivals or like worst enemy or something called that, and they would bring on these tattoo artists and they'd have to compete against their arch nemesis, like a tattoo artist that they had beef with, and they all just freaked the fuck out. It was awesome.
I'm trying to think if I even have an arch nemesis.
I had a crazy one singular college roommate who was a little crazy.
That's fair. Yeah, I remember those stories.
Yeah. Shout out
to you, Arch. Oh, you're going
I'll name her. I'll name her.
Step into the light.
Yeah, I'm sure she's doing better now. I think we were all dealing with some issues sophomore year of college, so I don't hold any animosity anymore. Yeah, it was a rough time for all of us.
Is that just a general experience, or is it just you and I? Because I also had a kind of whack roommate sophomore year of college.
I think like everyone probably has a whack roommate story
at one point or another. You have to. It comes with the territory of having roommates.
Truly. And I had so many roommates. Oh my God. At one point I lived with 11 people. Actually, that's not even true. Well, that is true. But at one point I lived with probably 60 people because I lived in a sorority house. But that's a little different. But I never had any drama in the sorority house, probably because I was super socially anxious and didn't talk to anyone and then dropped.
Yeah, see, it pays off to be socially anxious.
It does. It really does.
Good stuff. All right. What else?
We record with our friends What the Gays Say podcast tomorrow.
Oh my God. I'm so excited. Like, this is Saturday when we're recording, and then to go into a Sunday getting to connect with them. This is the perfect weekend, y'all. They're so funny.
They're really fucking funny. And I don't understand how they do it. Like on their podcast, they just talk.
I know.
And they manage to be so entertaining and funny. Like I cannot wait. They're doing a Patreon episode, so I'm excited to see what they cook up. Last time I talked to them, they said they were going to like co-teach a lesson, which will be the first time we've had someone do that.
Sweet. I love that so much. So yeah, A, check out What the Gays Say, their podcast, and B, join our Patreon to get to hear them teach us a lesson. This is a collaboration. It'll be me, Kat, and What the Gays Say together. They're teaching us a lesson together. Never been done before. You can join for as low as $1 per month, and it helps this podcast keep going. It helps us do cool things like all of these extra episodes that we do. So if you like Night Classy, go over to Patreon and check it out. There's extra content. And again, you can join for as low as $1 per month, but there are higher levels where there are extra perks, such as picking a lesson topic.
And speaking of picking a lesson topic, we have a new Patreon this month who joined at the Dean's List tier, $10 a month. So he gets to pick a lesson, and his name is Jacob Krieg of Richmond, Texas. So he is a gem. We are so excited to have him as a classmate and as part of the family. And he is a mathematician. So we just have the smartest
That's
listeners.
an actual thing. I thought it was just
What?
I don't know what I thought. It seemed like mathematician. I don't know. Seems like the job would have another name besides mathematician.
No, that's its
awesome.
name. My mom's, like, one of her close friends growing up, Mike, I think his name Mike. Yeah. But he was a mathematician, and she'd tell me that as a kid. And, like, to me, it sounded like magician, but with math. So I just
really does.
In my mind, he was, like, amazing. Like, he was this math wizard, and he probably is.
Well, he is. Yeah. That's exactly why. That was no accident. There are no coincidences. A mathematician is a math magician.
Literally. So shout out Jacob for being really smart and also having cool hobbies. He enjoys to cook, he woodworks, games, and studies AI in his spare time.
Wow. I want to learn to woodwork so badly.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I love working with my hands and creating things.
Oh my God.
And we never had a woodworking, I can't say that word, woodworking class at my school. So
Really?
I never really got to learn how to do it. Maybe Jacob should come on and teach a Patreon lesson one day.
Yeah, on woodworking. I won't be there for that because that sounds boring, but I'm glad Jacob likes it. In middle school, I got assigned for my elective to be woodshop. And I went for one day and I was like, I can't fucking do this. And so I walked into the counselor's office. I was in like 7th grade and I was like, get me out of here. I can't do it. And
that sounds about right.
And she pushed back, but ultimately I got my way and did cooking class.
Oh yeah, that sounds way better.
Way better. And the woodshop teacher was weird. I don't fuck with him.
My dad's best friend is a wood shop teacher in Los Angeles, and he's also the one who did my tattoo. But he taught the kids at the time who sang that song "Cool Kids." Do you know that song? I wish that I could be like the cool kids. It's like Echo Smith, I think. Yeah, they were his students.
Wow, that's cool. How fun. I just found out that MGMT came from Memphis. The band
MGMT. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel that's like tickling a part of my brain that's like you knew that, but I did not remember.
Yeah. I mean, like, actually a lot of musicians come from Memphis, obviously, because it's like a music city, but that one surprised me.
That surprises me too. Yeah. Okay, cool. Memphis is lit.
Yeah, fun facts. Cool. Well, we breathalyzed and I blew a .032.
I blew a .073.
So Hayley is lit.
Yes, and before that, I blew a .14, and we were like, whoa. Let's just double check that.
Yeah, she's had 2 White Claws.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, we redid that. I blew a .073, so that means I am going first.
Wait, yes, it does. Dang it.
Oh my gosh.
For some reason in my head, I was going first, and now I'm upset. But it's okay.
You just really want to go first. Well,
I really like going first, but it's fine.
Maybe we should do something where we just have a set pattern, kind of like other podcasts we listen to do that.
I like the breathalyzer gimmick, though.
I do too. Maybe it's just something we announce at the top of the episode.
What? Oh, just like maybe we'll workshop it.
Let us
know what you think.
Yeah. What would you prefer?
Yeah.
For the record, I think they should go back and forth each week.
Okay. We'll see. Maybe we'll put out a survey.
I just don't want the audience to feel like they can't go against y'all. Because maybe they could support me.
They are fine going against us. Let me tell you.
I'm pretty vapid about it. It is nice to go first because the rest of the time you do get to relax.
Yeah. That's why I prefer it. And you get to do your lesson while you're more sober. And so I feel like I do a better job when I go first.
Yeah. Well, sucks to suck.
Yeah.
On to my learning journey. All right, so we've all seen and sent our friends funny articles or headlines from funny or satirical magazines like The Onion, Reductress, or National Lampoon if you're super deep into millennialhood. But you've probably not heard of the satirical paper Der Gotz Von Berlichingen.
That is correct. I have not.
So this paper, and I listened to the pronunciation of this name so many times. The last name, Berlichen, whatever. It's German. I can't pronounce it. I'm very sorry. But this paper began in a post-World War I Austria, and it was the first weekly speech balloon comic strip in Europe. It referred to itself as, and this is translated, I'm not even going to try to speak German. It referred to itself as a, quote, humorous, belligerent paper against everybody.
What if we just start describing our podcast as that? I feel like we could get a little meaner. We're like kind of careful not to offend too many people. But maybe we should start.
Maybe once this is our full-time job, I'd be into that.
And then lose all our money because we just make everyone angry.
That's true. That's true. I don't know if we really have the personalities to be against everybody, though.
I do.
Yeah, but I balance this out because I'm the peacekeeper.
It's true.
So we'll revisit that also.
Okay.
But the question is, where did they get this name? Der Gotz Von Berlichingen for this paper. Turns out he was a real guy who has a couple claims to fame, but we'll start with the beginning. For the rest of this lesson, I'm just going to refer to him as Gotz, okay?
Okay.
Gotz was born into a wealthy family in the Jagshausen Castle, approximately, we're not really sure, approximately in 1480.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm already confused. So he did not make this paper.
He did not make
it
this paper.
It was named after him.
It was named after him.
I'm sure you literally just said that, but I was spacing out. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. So yes, this paper is named after this real guy who we're learning about for this learning journey.
Okay.
All right, so he's born in about 1480. We're not really sure. And as the times always are, it was freaking crazy. There was always conflict between the nobles and their rival cities across southern Germany, amongst other places in the world. But Gotz ends up doing what plenty of young men do, and he joined the army when he was 17 years old. He fought in armies of the Holy Roman Empire against the Swiss armies during the Swabian War, but he really did not like people telling him what to do.
That's a great personality trait if you're joining the military.
It turned out to be good for him. I mean, yeah, I also don't like people telling me what to do, but I've realized that it's just something you have to do sometimes, which is frustrating. Like, even if you do start your own business or like work for yourself, there's still like the government, like you have to pay taxes.
Yeah. I feel like there's a difference between like taking criticism and suggestions and not liking when people tell you to do something that's stupid. Because I have no problem like having a boss or a manager telling me to do things that like are necessary. But like when someone tells you to do something that's pointless, like I will not do it.
Yes. Okay. I'm on the same page with you there. I don't mind having a boss. I prefer people telling me how things should be done. Mm-hmm. But when I feel like I know what I'm doing.
When someone tells you to do something like that doesn't make sense.
Or if I'm already going to do that thing.
Oh my gosh, the worst.
I cannot.
Or when they tell you to do something you're literally doing at the moment.
Yes. Gotz felt the same way. He's like, peace out, I've got to go my own way. So he forms his own mercenary army and essentially starts selling their violence to different dukes and barons and margraves, and whoever bids the most would win Gotz and his men's services. In 1504, Gotz and his mercenary were fighting for Albert IV, Duke of Bavaria. And in battle, an enemy cannon gets fired. And we're not exactly sure how this happened, but Gotz ends up losing his hand at about the wrist down. One story says that Gotz's sword got pushed into his own, like, arm with his other hand and severed off his hand. But other sources say that the cannonball just blew off his hand completely.
Dang.
So his hand is gone. Gotz is really depressed. He can't do, like, he really likes fighting. He's a very
You're gonna say he really likes his hand.
He does. He really likes his hand. He can't do plenty of things anymore.
Was it his right or his left
His
hand?
right hand.
Was he right-handed?
Yes, he was
Aw.
right-handed. So he was really sad and he just wasn't sure what he was going to do. But while he's on recovery, still in the middle of this battlefield trying to recover, he didn't die or anything, but he saw this one-armed servant fighting on the battlefield and it inspired him.
What a happy coincidence.
I know. It's like, I'm like, does God exist? What? No, I'm just kidding. I know God exists for plenty of people, but it seems like a perfect message from, it's not coincidental. So he remembered who the fuck he was, and he was determined to get back on the battlefield.
That was a roller coaster of thoughts within, like, how long could this have been? Like an hour?
With him, I don't know. No. I think it was more than an hour from him, like, recovering. I think that he had some time.
I
to,
see what you're saying. He's sitting on the sidelines,
Yeah.
on the bench. He's benched and recovering, and then he witnesses someone fighting.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's feeling a little sorry for himself.
He's
He
drinking
was
his
the
Gatorade.
boss, drinking his Gatorade, maybe taking a shot or two in between the Gatorade. It was like the 1500s, so who
He was
knows?
mixing his Gatorade with ale.
His Gatorade turned into ale after being on the battlefield just in
Ooh.
barrels for so long.
Do you think you could ferment Gatorade into wine?
just pour yeast into it?
Yeah.
You could ferment anything.
We should try that.
Should
I
we?
love
Okay,
Gatorade.
we tried to make our own wine.
We did.
But actually, my uncle did tell us he would show us how to make like White Claws and things like
when
that.
is he gonna do that? I'm waiting.
I mean, I'll be in Columbus here in like the next week or so.
Yeah,
so
have him
I'll
teach
hit
you.
him up. Shout out to you, Uncle Alberto. I know you listen. But anyway, this just goes to show that representation matters. And he was inspired by this one-armed guy fighting on the battlefield. So Gotz goes into a local village and he seeks out this very skilled blacksmith who also is a very skilled saddle maker. He wears many hats, but he goes to this guy and he asks him to make a hand for him. Gotz had 2 prosthetic hands in his entire lifetime. The first one was simple, but it had retractable iron fingers inside this metal hand that allowed him to grip onto the handle of his sword. Alec, you can show the first picture. It attaches to his arm by like a metal cage, and it is truly a piece of art. If you look at it, you'll see that there are wrinkles on the fingers. The fingernails are carved into the metal, and it's pretty realistic looking besides it being like a big chunk of metal, but this was like 1504.
Yeah, they really made it look like a hand.
Yeah,
It's impressive.
That's his first hand. He does end up getting a second hand later on. The second hand is much more sophisticated. You can go to the second picture, Alec. This second hand has individual finger joints with spring-based locking mechanisms,
Wow.
which means that he's able to do much more. He could write with a quill pen. His prosthetic was like just evolutionary for the time period.
Revolutionary.
Revolutionary. Yes, thank you. So the thing about Gotz is that he did not give a fuck. He wanted to do his own thing. He was, like I said before, a hothead. He had a temper, and he was always ready, if not seeking out a fight. And not even just fights. He started a lot of feuds. He would pit armies against armies.
He's like, am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain.
Yeah, he doesn't think he's the villain because he also stands up for peasants and like people in the lower class. So he's trying to do like a little Robin Hood type deal. He's trying to get the best of both worlds.
I mean, but he was an upper class person.
That's true.
I think he just wanted to be the drama.
I think he wanted to be the drama too. He just seemed to really like to fight. And he had like personal vendettas. He would end up starting 15 feuds in his lifetime. And when I say feuds, I don't just mean that people in certain groups didn't like each other. They were like full on battles that he would start. He would pick fights with entire cities. He would go to cities he didn't like and start battling them and their
my
armies. If you had to pick a city, what city would you fight
That I
in?
don't like.
I would assume you don't like them if you're fighting them.
I don't know. Oh,
Where does live? Dox her.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to bleep out her name. I don't know. I feel like I've never met a city that I don't like.
I would agree with that. I didn't know. I'm trying to think. The drivers in Kentucky are very bad.
I'm like,
I will
tread
say
carefully,
that.
guys, because we've got listeners all over the place.
Maybe Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
Oh, I do have a city. Council Bluffs. What is it? Council Bluffs. I don't know. Whatever city council or state Council Bluffs is in.
Yeah.
Just terrible. I had a terrible food experience there, and driving through was the worst road trip experience of my life.
That's what happened to us in Little Rock. Like Alec and I, we were like, we're going to do a day trip. It's going to be so fun. And then we went to Little Rock and it was Sunday and literally everything was closed and it was pouring rain and there was nothing to do and nowhere to eat because they didn't have any vegetarian options anywhere. And I was just over it.
But you guys did get that cute picture of you guys underneath the awning in the rain, right?
No, we
you
didn't.
never got it?
Because someone came up to us and he's like, hey, I work for a local paper and like you guys just look cute. Can I take a picture? And we said, okay. And then he promised to email it to us and like gave us his contact info and ghosted us, even though Alec messaged him multiple times. So yeah, fuck Little Rock, Arkansas.
Insult to injury.
I'm going to start a fight against them.
Okay, so we have our cities picked out. Alec, do you have a city that you would fight?
I have a restaurant chain I would like to fight.
Which one?
Subway.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But I might even move it to Chipotle or Panera now.
He's got a lot of chain restaurant vendettas. And actually, I also am finished with Chipotle. I know I said it would never happen, but lately, like usually when I eat Chipotle, I get sick the next day. Like the next morning, I'm not feeling good, but like spend a few minutes in the bathroom and then I'm okay. But lately I've gotten it twice and I get sick like the hour after and then like am sick the whole day.
Oh yeah, that's literally food poisoning.
Yeah, it gives me food poisoning every time. So I'm done.
They have like a $94 million lawsuit right now about food poisoning because they haven't been abiding by health code regulations.
Makes sense that I get sick there literally every time.
Oh my God.
Every time without fail.
If I had to pick a restaurant, I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with Taco Bell because I love it.
Yeah.
But it hurts me.
You're stabbing it and you're crying.
Taco Bell I eat a lot of Taco Bell and it has never once made me sick.
If you do vegetarian, it's all in the clear. Mm-hmm. But before I started doing all the vegetarian stuff, no. And then I saw a TikTok from a Taco Bell employee showing.
No, never watch those. Never.
No. Yeah.
What'd they show?
They showed the floors and how they cleaned them. They just poured a bucket of water with, I'm guessing, maybe some cleaning supplies in it. And it was just, it all went down the drain eventually, but it was all just soaking there. They didn't mop it or anything. They showed the meat and how it had been like in, I don't know where it was stored, but it had been in there for months and it was all fat, just soaked in fat. It was so gross. It was so gross.
Thanks for telling me that.
You're welcome. I mean, you're already vegetarian.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Whatever.
It's hard to fuck up refried beans in a tortilla.
Yep, that's true. That's true. I do have a vendetta against Zaxby's though, because
Really?
I've never really had them, and then I saw that they were having a special for fried pickles. I had them, and then I was on the toilet for like the rest of the day.
Really?
Yeah,
I had their fried pickles a few weeks ago and no problems.
Oh, lucky you.
It was very lucky apparently, but they were so greasy that it like the grease leaked through the bag and got all over my clothes.
Oh shit!
Because I had it like on my lap in the car,
and that's not an easy
And-
stain to get out.
no, it's an impossible stain to get out, and like it like dripped hot grease on me because they were so greasy. That's probably why it made you sick.
Probably. What I want to do whenever I get a grease stain, I have yet to try this, but I've had this idea for a while, is just to soak the entire garment in grease.
That's a
that way it's
terrible
all
idea.
That way it's all the same color. No more stain.
because it sets in different. Like it'll still be all like irregular and stainy.
Yeah, it'll probably soak into my skin. It probably is impossible to get it out.
Also, just don't put clothes in a bowl of grease.
But I'm with you. If I get a big smear of olive oil on my khakis, if I dipped the entire khaki into a vat of olive oil, vat of olive oil. They would probably make the stain disappear. They'd just be a darker shade of khaki.
In my mind, it makes sense, but there's probably a reason why this isn't a tried and true method. I can't imagine I'm the only one who's ever thought of this in the existence of human beings.
This is such a stupid conversation.
I smell a Patreon science tested in the lab episode.
I refuse to participate in that.
Fine. Don't come. Watch you can be the camera person.
Okay.
Finally.
Anyway, the specific city that Gotz would have liked to fight and did was Nuremberg. He decides to sneak up and jump some of these Nuremberg merchants who are on their way home from a fair in 1512. He robs them of all of their stuff, all of their gold coins, and he gets away with it until the Holy Roman Empire places Gotz under an imperial ban. This does not mean that he just has to stay out of Nuremberg. It is way more serious than that. This means that he's not allowed to leave his own land. So he can only stay on the property he owns. And anyone who sees Gotz outside of this land is legally allowed to rob and kill him.
I think we've solved the prison industrial system. I guess that's basically just putting people in house arrest. But sounds way better to chill on your own. Yeah, that was a problematic statement. But what I'm saying is don't put people in jail, just make them stay in their house.
Make them stay in their house and release all the people who are in jail right now for crimes specifically that are related to marijuana because it's all
and just nonviolent offenses.
Yeah. Do better, America.
Do better. And I'm sorry for that very problematic statement. I just meant why are we putting people in jail?
This. Yes. Yeah, and we don't need to legally be able to rob and kill. We're not trying to have to purge every day.
Oh no, I don't want people to be robbed and killed. But that sounds like a fair thing to me to do to him. He's robbing and killing people. Let's just make it okay for people to rob and kill him if he leaves his estate, which I'm guessing is probably nice.
Yeah, it is nice. He's got a little castle, little bougie. That little thing going on. So he's under this ban for 2 years. So basically he experienced the COVID quarantine alone on his own property for twice the time that we did, essentially. He ends up paying the Holy Roman government 14,000 gold coins in order to be released from this ban because he got tired of it after 2 years. And he stayed out of trouble after that.
Wow.
Psych! Oh. Gotz also hated the Prince of Mainz. So 2 years after he got out of this ban, Gotz took the Count of Waldeck, a Mainz noble. He took him hostage during a raid and returned him for an $8,400 gold coin ransom. So he was never hurting for money. He would hurt for money.
I like that he charged 14,000 gold coins, which isn't that what he paid to get out of jail?
No, he charged 8,400.
Oh.
Yeah, and he paid 14,000. Okay. Yeah. Gold coins here, gold coins there, blah, 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 blah.
Gold coins, gold coins, gold coins.
Everything is gold coins. And you can have all the gold coins in the world, but the Holy Roman Empire will still ban your ass. He gets banned again and ends up paying his way out again. And then everything actually is peaceful for a while, truly, until the German Peasant War in 1525. So this is basically like the French Revolution. People in the lower class were sick and tired of being treated like shit. So Gotz led an army of over 10,000 men. And he did so for a month, but ended up abandoning them because he said that no one listens to him and they have no idea what they're doing and they're just uncoachable, essentially.
So there's 10,000 of them?
There's 10,000 of them.
That's a lot of men.
It's a lot of men, yes. So if you're used to manning, I don't know how many were in his mercenary initially. I couldn't find that number, but probably not 10,000. I doubt he had the leadership skills to delegate and create managers amongst 10,000.
Imagine leading 10,000 people.
No, know. I can barely lead myself. I don't even know what 10,000 people looks like.
No, is that literally? I wouldn't know the difference between 10,000 and 10 million if you showed me a picture.
Yes, you would. You're a math teacher. You can't say that. Bleep it out. 10 million versus 10,000. I really want to see that visualized right now.
It's the same.
And then do a voiceover of you with that picture. That's really funny. So anyway, he ends up leaving these 10,000 men because he's tired of not being listened to and tired of them not having any military training. And he goes back to his castle. But after that whole revolt is crushed by the government, they go to his castle and they want to arrest him for ever even being involved in this revolution. During the siege of his castle, Gotz hangs out of his window and says his now famous line, "Leck mich am Arsch."
Sound just like that.
Yes. The direct translation is "lick my ass," but
Nice.
the English version is "kiss my ass."
Nice.
And that was his response when the commander demands Gotz to surrender himself. This was the first time that this phrase had ever been recorded.
Wow.
Yes. All of my sources cited him with this phrase. But on one website, it said that it had been around for a very long time. Gotz was not responsible for creating it, but he definitely did popularize it in Germany, and it spread, and he became the one associated with this phrase. So as we know it today, "kiss my ass" is used kind of like a lower key FU. And it's used across the globe. Mozart was even inspired by Gotz, and he wrote a song with the lyrics, "Lick mich am Arsch." And I have this song pulled up and ready for us.
Okay.
And it's about to drop.
What does the rest of it translate to?
Lick me in the ass, quickly, quickly.
It's literally like a song about eating ass.
Yeah. Meg the Stallion, or I mean, plenty of people. I just envision Meg making a song about this, her and Cardi B.
She's like, lick me,
Need to
make him
sample
arsch.
this. Yeah. Lick me, arsch. I was singing that all day. And Tommy's like, would you please just stop?
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I know. So Mozart loved it as well as myself. I love that. Anyway, Gotz does end up in trial over this peasant revolt, and his defense was that he was worried the peasants would do too much damage without his help, and that he thought that they would cause less damage if he was there to guide them.
Oh yes, they'd cause less damage under an organized leader.
Yes, again, he's like Pam in The Office, where he's like, there's a right way to do this. And it worked. They believed him.
What?
Yeah. They're like, you know what? You're right. You're a very tactful, violent person.
What is going on? They just liked him. They're like, you're funny.
Yeah,
He's like the bad kid in class that you like.
Yeah,
You're
you
like,
spend so much time with them. You become attached.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just gonna look the other way today.
Right.
I
they're
like you. I don't think you deserve. Like, I just don't want to see you go to the office again.
Yeah, I can just tell that 200 years from now, there's going to be a hit song about licking my ass.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pretend I don't see you charging your phone under the desk right now.
It's not worth my time. I know
Yeah.
you're just gonna it's not gonna stop the trouble. It's just gonna be a different kind of trouble.
Yeah, it's just gonna make more work for me, honestly.
Yeah, and they didn't want that,
No.
just as we don't want that. So he was acquitted, and he ends up fighting for the emperor in the 1542 campaign in Hungary against the Ottoman Empire, and then finally in the 1544 imperial invasion of France. And he ends up retiring to his castle and lived out the rest of his life peacefully there, and used his bionic hand to write his autobiography. Both his hands and his remains are kept at the castle he was born in and stayed in, the Berg Jogshausen Castle. And you can see it there. They're both just propped up, chilling, real nice. And he truly left a legacy. The film Gotz Von Berlichingen was released in 1955. Multiple German army vehicles have been named after him, and his iron glove inspired the emblem on several German submarines. That's on the very last slide. You can see clearly it's like his hand.
It's an iron fist.
Yeah.
Is that where rules with an iron fist comes from?
Ooh, maybe so. I'm not sure. I did not see that anywhere, but could be. Yes, I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Yes. And if I'm wrong, correct me.
No, don't.
No, don't. Don't do that.
I prefer to live in a world where this is real.
Ignorance is bliss.
It really is.
And when it's innocent, like misnaming the origin of a saying, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Gotz was the first that we know of bionic military commander. He pissed off the Holy Roman Empire twice. He popularized saying, "Kiss my ass." And that is my learning journey. I hope you enjoyed it. If not, then you can lick my ass. My sources are Wikipedia page for Gotz, YouTube, The Absolute Mad Lads, Gotz of the Iron Hand by Count Dankula, Mozart's Lick Me Arm Ash by Amadeus Mozart, Who Invented Prosthetics by Mary Bellis, DW.com, The First Iron Man, The Story of Gotz von Berlichingen, who is Gotz von and why he's saying those terrible things on GermansMakeComics2.org and uboataces.com.
Thank you, Hayley, for that amazing lesson. We are going to take a break to turn the fan on and open the window because we are sweaty. But in the meantime, let's hear a word from our sponsor. I love 7th Hill CBD. It helps me with my aches and pains at the end of the day, my headaches from working with amazing middle schoolers, and, just helps ease my anxiety and helps me unwind.
I have to say that I really think there should be a song just like you started this ad, because that depicts how I feel about 7th Hill CBD. It makes me want to sing, and I'm not a good singer, but I feel like I could with 7th Hill CBD. Like you said before, those aches and pains ease away after. I love to use their oils personally. I've also used their cones to relax, and it's not going to get you high. Those ones aren't, but it will help you just feel more relaxed and more comfortable. I know after sitting all day during virtual learning, my neck is killing me and my eyes hurt from the blue light. So it's been a really good way for me personally to unwind with 7th Hill CBD products.
Yeah, it's amazing. And if you're not into oils or cones, they also have caramels, which taste delicious. They are handmade with very high quality ingredients and just fantastic all around. It makes a great gift, whether that's a gift to yourself or somebody else.
Both is good, but take care of yourself. You got to do that first. Father's Day is coming up, which is good too. But you're right. All of their products are amazing quality. They're farm to table. They're organic. The people who put out 7th Hill CBD products, they care about what their consumers are experiencing when they use 7th Hill CBD. So we wouldn't partner with them if we didn't fully trust them and love their products. So we think you'll like it too.
Yeah, so if you would like to try 7th Hill CBD, you can go to 7thhillcbd.com. It's 7th spelled out, not the number 7. So go to their website and use our promo code NIGHTCLASSY, no spaces, just the name of this podcast, for 20% off your order.
Let us know how you like it.
Thanks.
Bye.
Welcome back, everybody. It is already 1 million degrees. I am already wiping my palm sweat on the chair. And
yum.
That's because it is June. So happy motherfucking Pride, everybody. Woo, woo. Hayley and I are not ourselves members of the LGBTQIA plus community, but we like to consider ourselves allies. And so I wanted to do a Pride topic today. And I had one picked out that was like super warm and fuzzy and fun. And then I got a message from a listener named Maya, who is amazing. And she suggested that we cover the Stonewall Uprising or the Stonewall riots.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's important to recognize, I mean, Pride Month isn't going to be about the warm and fuzzy. I mean, we've come so far as a nation supporting the LGBTQIA plus community that, yeah, you have to talk about the really tough stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it is still uplifting because it brought us to where we are today. And I think because this is our first Pride episode, I don't think we did anything last year. It was just chaotic. It was the beginning of the pandemic. We didn't know what we were doing, but this is because this is our first one. I think it might be good to start kind of from the beginning, not the beginning, but you know what really kicked things off to where we are today.
I feel like man evolved from a sea creature.
We start our journey.
You're like, you just do the history of humans, but like make it
gay. No, but we will start at the Stonewall Uprising, also known as the Stonewall Riots or the Stonewall Rebellion. And I do want to name that I am a heterosexual cis woman. So, you know, I'm probably not the very, very best person to be giving this lesson. So if I get anything wrong, anything incorrect, or you just want to tweak anything I say, please reach out. I am happy to hear that. But this is an important historic event and that I think we should all know about. So I'm here to talk about it. And one more housekeeping thing before I get started. I do want to put in a trigger warning. I'm going to do my best to keep this uplifting, but I am going to be naming discrimination, homophobia, and violence toward LGBTQ plus people. So just be mindful of that if that triggers you. All right, so before I get to actual Stonewall, I want to give some background on what gay rights or the lack thereof looked like pre-Stonewall, so in the couple decades leading up to it. The first documented U.S. gay rights organization was the Society for Human Rights, which was founded by Henry Gerber in 1924, and they published a newsletter called Friendship and Freedom, but unfortunately, police raids forced them to disband only a year later in 1925.
This is terrible, but I'm surprised it lasted a year.
Yeah.
In 1924?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been such a struggle for people to live their truth.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for a very long time.
Yeah.
It was like very bad in the 20s and it continues to be bad, but we're going to fast forward to 1955 when some more gay rights organizations started forming. So America's first lesbian organization was the Daughters of Berlichen, which was formed in San Francisco in 1955. Organizations like these were necessary, obviously, because of the discrimination that LGBTQ plus people faced. And in the decades leading up to the Stonewall Uprising, the United States experienced and perpetrated the Lavender Scare, which was one of the greatest attacks on gay rights in the history of the United States. What happened was in 1947, the State Department began a program to eliminate communist and LGBTQ people from the department. And you're like, communist and LGBTQ, like these things don't seem linked. But at the time, people were equating communism with what they called, quote unquote, sexual perversion.
Oh my gosh. It's always something. It's always something to just try to eliminate the people who are not the heterosexual, cis, like just whatever the government wants it all to look like, ooh,
she just my drink.
I'm like talking with my hands, getting all frustrated. Because like you think about the 80s coming up after this, and it's the satanic panic. It's always going to be something.
It's always just that like othering. Like something comes along that it does not fit into our like idea of what's normal, and it becomes scary and there's backlash against it. So communism and LGBT got mixed together. And this is in a big part because in 1950, Senator McCarthy gave a famous speech where he claimed to have a list of 205 known communists that were working for the State Department. In his speech, he explicitly linked communism and homosexuality. So this is kind of where this comes from. Not comes from, but helped really make it popular. And even though only 2 people on this list were gay. And this list was bullshit anyway. Like, there were not 205 communists.
All you have to do is just attach something that's scary, especially for, you said this was in 1947?
1950.
Okay. Just attach something that's really scary for the general public at the time with that propaganda. And then you include something that, like you said, is the otherism for the time. And it probably caught fire pretty quickly and spread.
Oh, it absolutely did. There was a huge public outcry over the quote unquote dangers of LGBTQ plus people holding government positions. What this did was lead to a series of investigative hearings that named the alleged number of gay men holding public office. And these people argued that it's the government's responsibility to protect the public from quote unquote sexual perverts. The name the Lavender Scare comes from the fact that in these hearings, gay men were repeatedly called lavender lads.
Where did that come from?
I think it was just like calling them fairies, like, you know, like a slur kind of without.
Because of course colors are attributed to gender and
exactly
purple.
Yeah,
It's
purple
girly.
is gay. Yeah. But also
Okay.
but also I mean, I'm not a gay man, so like I don't know if like I'm the best person to say this, but like lavender lad sounds cute. Like I think that should be reappropriated.
Yeah, that should be reappropriated, taken back, just like we have for like, you know, we're hoes for science here on this podcast.
Pussy power. Like,
Pussy power. You're a bitch. I'm a bitch. We're all bitches. And it's a term of endearment now.
Yeah, I think that would be a fun thing to take back. So if you're out there and that applies to you, this is an idea. Also, I'm sorry. Anyway, after the hearings in 1953, President Eisenhower signed Executive Order 10450, which set quote unquote sexual perversion as a basis for removal from public positions. This effectively banned homosexual people from working for the federal government. And that allowed for 5,000 people to be fired from their jobs in the mid-1950s. And many states and local governments also adopted similar policies. So that led to even more people losing their jobs.
That is heartbreaking because of all of these people losing their jobs, but also to think what our country could look like now had these people not been taken out of these positions.
Yeah, and it's all these people losing their jobs, but it's also the government like endorsing discrimination. And it of course led to all kinds of other discrimination that's not even listed in these sources. Just a widespread barring from holding a powerful position. Luckily, in the 1956, the Supreme Court case Cole versus Young limited the government's ability to fire people for discriminatory reasons. But of course, it still continued to happen, and it's only limited. It's not banned. What's more is the Lavender Scare hearings continued into the 60s. So accusing government officials of homosexuality did not stop. So as you can imagine from all of this, in the 1960s, you could not be openly gay in mainstream society without repercussions. There were laws in most states prohibiting same-sex relationships, and not a single law explicitly protected gay people from discrimination. So it was really just a free-for-all. You did not want to come out because that would have serious impacts on your life and your ability to provide for yourself. For that reason, LGBT individuals relied on places like gay bars and clubs as a place of refuge. It was the only place many people could be themselves without fear. However, through the 1960s, there were laws in New York City that prohibited knowingly selling a known or suspected gay person alcohol. So if you knew someone was gay, you could not sell them alcohol. And the argument behind that being that LGBT people gathering in and of itself was considered disorderly.
What?
So that in effect made gay bars illegal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know it's really bad when the capitalist machine won't even make money off of a group of people.
Right. Now we're making fun of all these companies coming out with ugly pride merch and pandering. And that's capitalism. We should be criticizing that, but they weren't even allowed to profit from it back then.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's all kinds of fucked up, which is why in 1966, members of the Manhattan Society staged a sip-in. They would go to bars, loudly declare their sexual orientation, and then order a drink, which I think is pretty fun. Good. I'm gay, yes. And then order a drink. So that's fun. And then when they were inevitably refused a drink, they would sue the bar. This worked. It led to the Commission of Human Rights ruling that gay individuals had the right to be served in bars.
Yeah, amongst other things, yes.
Right.
I guess that's a start.
It's a start. And it is important because, like I stated earlier, like gay bars were, like, they're important now, but they were especially important at this time.
Yes. And organizing changes things.
Yes, it does. Now, gay bars were legal. However, displays of public affection between same-sex people was still illegal, which subjected gay bars to police raids very frequently. Many gay bars operated underground, in part to avoid police harassment, because if you were listed as a gay bar, you'd get raided all the time. Therefore, of course, they operated illegally without liquor licenses. And another reason for that was that so many gay bars were owned by the mafia, at least in New York City.
I didn't know that.
Me either.
Oh, fun fact.
I know. Such a
Shout
fun
out
fact.
to you, Mafia.
Shout out Mafia. I mean, they were not doing this out of the kindness of their hearts.
Right.
It was, to capitalize on an illicit business.
I know. I'm like, watches The Godfather twice, thinks Michael Corleone is hot as fuck, and just wants to do everything.
Hayley's pro-mafia, you guys. You heard it here first.
I'm pro Michael Corleone, okay?
She loves the mafia.
I love the mafia.
If you're a mob boss, come hang out with us because Hayley wants to meet you.
If you're a mob daddy,
okay,
come hang out with us.
Speaking of the mafia, in 1960s, Greenwich Village in New York City, the Genovese crime family controlled most of the gay bars. And in 1966, they purchased a quote-unquote regular bar, and it was called the Stonewall Inn. They renovated it and opened it as a gay bar. The Stonewall Inn was registered as a bottle bar, which meant that it didn't sell alcohol and patrons had to bring their own. This was bullshit. Like, they did sell alcohol, but this allowed them to operate without a liquor license.
Yeah, that's like this little hut in Florida that will sell you a cup, but the alcohol is free.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
I haven't been there, but my friend had so many cups from this bar. I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, here's the deal. They don't have a liquor license. They don't want to pay for it. So they sell you a cup. Every time you get a drink, you get a cup that you pay for. But the alcohol is free.
That is so wasteful. Why don't they buy a liquor license? Do they serve underage people?
Who knows? I don't know. Who knows?
That's weird.
I mean, probably.
I mean, yeah, that's probably it. You can sell an underage person a cup.
Hell yeah, you can. Yeah, spring break comes around, you're making tens of thousands of dollars on cups.
Seems like a good business model.
She kept them, so she's not wasteful.
Yeah, your whole house is just cups of
memorabilia from Joe's Crab Shack type deal.
It's like the nightmare of a roommate. I feel like anytime you live with a lot of people, there's just way too many cups in your house. That's happening.
Way too many cups and not enough bowls. We were laughing so hard when we saw the new bowls at your house. Tommy was like, yeah, I overheard Alex saying, where are all the bowls?
Yeah, okay. Someone is bringing breakfast to school and not returning the bowls, and it is not me because all the bowls are fucking gone. So I went to Target and bought a bunch of bowls, and now we have way more bowls than we could ever use.
She bought 18 bowls.
That's a lot. But also I saw those bowls. They were 50 cents.
They are 50 cents.
Yeah.
PSA, Target has really cute microwave safe plastic bowls for 50 cents.
And if you're a fellow teacher, they also have storage bins right now in the dollar section for $3 that are neutral or calm colors that are cute, affordable, and I thought about getting all of the black ones because I need a calm environment for my students, but I didn't. But they're there.
Yes, and they have a teacher discount.
They do?
Yeah.
How much?
I don't know, but I saw that the other day. It's only for certain items, but they do have a teacher discount.
Good to know.
Yes. PSA. Anyway.
PSA anyway.
The Genovese would bribe police to ignore the club. So, they were operating illegally. They'd bribe police to ignore it.
The police are able to be bought out?
Shocking.
What?
I know.
What?
They're the protectors of society. How
Am I
could
in a dream right now? This is insane.
What's happening? Oh my God. They were operating illegally, bribing police to stay out of it. So they were able to cut a lot of corners. They did not have a fire exit. They had no running water behind the bar. Toilets were not regularly cleaned. They were overflowing. Drinks were watered down. And the mafia was also they were shitty. They would blackmail the wealthier patrons of the bar and threaten to reveal that they'd go to the club to their social circles.
Wow. So
and
they're not
them.
even safe within this space that is supposed to be a safe-ish place.
Yeah, not really. But despite that, Stonewall Inn became very popular. It was relatively cheap to enter, but when you went in, you had to sign a guest list, which made it feel exclusive. It was also very big. It could hold a lot of people. Originally, it was just a gay men's bar. Most of the clients were cis, white, gay men. But over time, it evolved to be a safe place for drag queens and trans people and LGBTQ plus people of color who were often excluded from other gay bars. It was also somewhere where gay youths who are maybe runaways or experiencing houselessness could go for the night, and they'd have a safe place to spend the night because it was open all night. It was also one of the few gay bars that allowed dancing. And police raids would still happen, but usually there'd be a paid-off cop who would warn the bar beforehand so they'd be able to hide the alcohol and hide anything illegal and tone it down for the night. But the police raid on the morning of June 28th in 1969 was a surprise. The police entered the bar with a warrant and immediately got violent. I know, again, we're shocked by the police.
Right. Usually there's a warning. Usually there's there's steps. There's a right way to do this.
So the police were violent. They were manhandling customers. They were confiscating liquor because, like we said earlier, the bar was selling liquor without a license. They arrested 13 people. Most of those people were employees, and a few of them were people violating the state's gender-appropriate clothing statute, which prohibited cross-dressing. To break this statute meant you were not wearing at least 3 articles of quote-unquote gender-appropriate clothing.
That's so wild. And to me, it's wild that that's how it was in 1969. And truly, that's how it is now.
Yeah.
We had an announcement at our school, which I'm glad for this, but they were reminding us, they were like, your students can wear whatever they want to wear. Mm-hmm. Trivia question. Can someone who identifies as a male wear high heels? Yes, they can. And that came over the announcement.
Well, that's good.
I don't know what happened at one of the other schools.
Yeah.
But also I don't know, I just wish it was more mainstream and that, gender wasn't equated to specific colors and to different clothing. And
yeah, if you're cross-dressing in public, you're still not safe.
Yeah.
There's no law against it, but you're still not safe. We still have a very long way to go. I don't want people to I'm going to try to be uplifting about this, but I mean, there's still a very long way to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was pretty bad. Female police officers forced people suspected of cross-dressing into bathrooms to check their sex and see if they were cross-dressing or not to be arrested. Oh my God.
And I can't imagine this was legal, but it was allowed because it was a gay bar.
What do you mean? The raid?
The taking people into the restroom to check their private parts.
It was allowed because they were suspected of breaking the law. It was like a strip search kind of.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But I can't imagine it would be allowed for just a cis person at a park doing.
Yeah, I think it was reasonable search. We're at a gay bar, so there's probably people cross-dressing, so we're going to do this. Yeah, and I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just saying that was the line of thinking when they were doing
that's what I was
this.
trying to clarify, was that they were allowed to do that and justify it because of
Yeah.
the circumstances.
Definitely. You know, this is something that gay bars experienced very regularly. Like, the patrons were pretty used to it. However, this raid of Stonewall was kind of the last straw for a lot of people. They were fed up being assaulted by police and treated like criminals just for, like, literally going to a bar. Like, no one was doing anything bad. It was just, they were just existing as gay people. So instead of fleeing after the raid, which was common, you know, these bars were raided all the time and you'd usually like run away and try not to get in trouble. But like, people were fed the fuck up. So customers of the bar stayed outside on the sidewalk and the crowd was milling about. They were watching their peers being violently attacked by police and they were getting angrier and angrier. At one point, a lesbian woman was hit over the head and forced into a police van. And as she was being forced into the van, she shouted at onlookers to do something. And so they did. The crowd began to throw whatever they could get their hands on at the police. Bottles, pennies, rocks, like just anything on the ground. And as we know from your lesson on Marsha P. Johnson, she was credited with throwing the first brick.
But she was not the person to do that.
Yes, she herself says, I was not the first person to do that.
Let it be known. She was there. She pulled up eventually, but she was not the one who started the uprising.
Yes, and I think she's credited with that because like trans women, especially Black women, are not given enough credit for their role in this uprising. And so she still does deserve a lot of credit for organization and activism in the days following the riot. But, you know, she herself wasn't the first to throw the brick, but, you know,
somebody did. And that's important.
Yes. You know, after that first brick was thrown, things were being thrown. Within minutes, things escalated into a full-blown riot involving hundreds of people. The number I saw was around 300 to 500, and many of which were shouting gay power. Police were shook. They raided gay bars all the time and had never faced this kind of retaliation. So they went into the bar and barricaded themselves in, but the crowd kept breaking through and they kept attempting to set the bar on fire.
Let them burn.
Right. The fire department and the riot squad were able to put out the fires and break up the crowd. They rescued those inside the bar, but this was just the beginning. The protests continued for 5 more days, at times involving thousands of people. Over these 5 days, it turned into a movement. These protests were vital in the fight for gay rights and are central as to why we celebrate Pride today. Before I go on, I do want to go back to like a few seconds ago and name that historically the Stonewall riots have been whitewashed. It's often depicted as cis white gay men leading these riots, when in reality, it was a very diverse group. There were drag queens, trans people, and other LGBTQ plus people of color. It was very diverse, and it could not have happened without the efforts of marginalized groups. We're very lucky and grateful that it happened because this uprising brought a lot of visibility to the fight for gay rights and led to the formation of numerous gay rights organizations, including the Gay Liberation Front, the Human Rights Campaign, Outrage, Queer Nation, GLAAD, and PFLAG. Many of these organizations were very radical for the time. In previous LGBT rights organizations, it was typically more like social clubs for the purpose of giving gay or lesbian people a safe place to gather and socialize. They didn't often engage in radical activism. I mean, for good reasons. They were scared for their safety. And also, it typically catered to cis gay men or cis lesbian women. There wasn't a lot of room for trans or non-binary or bisexual people.
Right. The door was opened, but it was just a crack.
Yes. And in my listing just now, I left out LGBTQ plus people of color, where there also often was not room for.
Right. And that doesn't mean that they didn't exist and don't now.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yeah, they were just left out for, discrimination.
Yes. Yeah.
So this Stonewall uprising was unique because it was one of the first times where various identities within the LGBTQ plus community widely understood the benefit of uniting under a single cause. Before, it was very divided over sexual preferences, gender identity, and race. And But under this banner, they realized there was power in numbers. And that is very true to this day. And on the 1-year anniversary of the uprising on June 28th, 1970, thousands of people marched from Stonewall Inn to Central Park. And this event was organized by Brenda Howard. She's a bisexual woman who's been dubbed the Mother of Pride. At this time, the march was called Christopher Street Liberation Day, but it would come to be known as America's first gay pride parade. The official chant was "Say it loud, say it proud." So people walked chanting, "Say it clear, say it loud, gay is good, gay is proud." And the march was a highly visible event where LGBTQ plus members could express their gender identities and sexuality. And it was also the first public event where allies could show their support. Now we're used to pride parades, but back then this was a huge deal. I have a quote from someone named Fred Sargent who was there and experienced this. He says, "This was long before anyone had heard of a gay pride march. Back then, it took a new sense of audacity and courage to take a giant step into the streets of Midtown Manhattan. There were no floats, no music, no boys in briefs. The cops turned their backs on us to convey their disdain. But the masses of people kept carrying signs and banners, chanting and waving to surprised onlookers." For a long time, these events were held, but they were not called pride marches. They were more militant and called gay liberation or gay freedom marches. And it wasn't until the 80s or 90s where they became less militant and adopted the pride language that we know today.
Okay, I personally, as a heterosexual cis woman, I can't identify with being there at like the first gay liberation parade, but as an empathetic person, I feel, for me at least, that social anxiety, doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And it feels cold and it feels stark, but knowing that you're taking those first steps, I feel like is enough to power you. And I'm so glad and proud of the people who were able to do that.
Oh, it took an incredible amount of bravery. Like, you didn't know if you were going to be beaten dead in the street. And it's thanks to people with this bravery that people are able to live their truths today. And we have pride marches that are like no big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Not that they're not a big deal, but like it's a much more casual thing.
It's not a life and death situation. And you shouldn't have to be brave to march proudly and be who you are. But at the time, and even now in some places, you do.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, now we have like a freaking Skittles putting out like colorless bags of Skittles that say like the only rainbow in June is pride or something like that. And like, it's great that it's like that mainstream, but it's just interesting the difference.
I feel like Skittles should lean more into the rainbow. They're like, instead of eat the rainbow, taste, or it's taste the rainbow, right? It should be like taste in caps, like taste the rainbow.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. Like, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm not the best person to speak on it regardless.
I just think that you can't be an ally to the LGBTQIA plus community just by being a part of this capitalistic machine that America is. It can't be about the profit. Yeah.
And I mean, if they're putting their money where their mouth is, great.
Yeah, that's different. But if you're just changing your logo or erasing the rainbow as Skittles is doing,
seems a little sus.
Yeah, if it's just, what is it called? When you're performative. If it's just performative, then just shut up.
Yeah. Did you see that? I mean, I love Burger King with all of my heart and soul, and they're really living up to the high esteem that I've placed on them. They put out a chicken sandwich to compete with fucking Chick-fil-A, and like a huge amount, something like, I don't even know the number, but like they're putting like a bunch of the proceeds from the chicken sandwich to like human rights organizations.
Good. Now they need to one up Chick-fil-A by not only putting out a mac and cheese, but getting some like fried mac and cheese bites.
Yeah.
That is what they
do have mozzarella sticks though, which I appreciate.
Yes. Yeah. Their mozzarella sticks slap.
Yeah. Burger King is underrated, you guys. It's so good. Anyway, that is off topic. In 1999, the National Park Services placed Stonewall Inn on the National Historic
Leslie Knope single-handedly changed the world.
Thanks to Leslie Knope marrying those two gay penguins in 2012.
That's all it took. Isn't it crazy that the penguins were able to be married in 2012 or whatever, but actually it wasn't enforced like by American law until 2015? That same-sex marriages were legalized.
Was it really 2015?
Yes, I looked it up because we were having a conversation, and I was like, because like to me, I mean, like I've always I've been raised in an accepting household, and I've always thought that people should have human rights.
Yeah, radical beliefs.
Right. Yeah,
in the Madden household.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, but yeah, 2015. It was legalized on a federal level to have a same-sex marriage.
For some reason in my mind, it was 2008, like with Obama. I mean, realistically, I know that.
It was still Obama.
Yeah, it was still Obama, but like I forgot. It's crazy how fast you forget. I forgot it was that recent. And maybe that was when Washington did it. I don't remember. Because I know certain states were legalizing it before.
Yeah. Either way, way too late.
Yeah, that's wild. And so the National Park Service placed Stonewall Inn on the National Registry of Historic Places. In 2016, President Barack Obama designated the site of Stonewall as a national monument. And so Stonewall is a big reason why we have the modern LGBTQ plus rights movement today, and is why we celebrate Pride in June. I just want to end this lesson with just a few Pride Month fun facts.
Okay, we love fun facts.
I love ending on some good fun facts. Gilbert Barker designed the original rainbow pride flag in 1978 for the San Francisco Gay Freedom Day, and each color means something. So pink represents sexuality, red is life, orange is healing, yellow is the sun, green is nature, turquoise is art, indigo is harmony, and violet is spirit.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, isn't that fun and sweet? And we now have an updated pride flag with some new colors, so it incorporates the trans flag with white, light pink, and light blue, as well as a black and a brown stripe to include black and other racially marginalized folks who were long excluded from the mainstream LGBTQ plus movement. For a while, the world's largest flag was a pride flag. It was made in 1994 and measured 30 feet.
Wow.
Wow, so it's
She's
a big
long.
boy. Big zaddy. The Guinness Book of World Records confirmed it was the largest flag in the world. And then in 2003, the same creator one-upped himself and made an even bigger pride flag that measured 1.25 miles long.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
He really did. Pride Month has been acknowledged by only 2 U.S. presidents. That's probably, I'm sure, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris or something.
He did.
So now 3, but this source was old. And so that would be Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden. And my final fact is the world's largest pride parade is in Sao Paulo, Brazil, with 2.5 million attendees. New York Pride is a close second with 2 million, and San Francisco is third with 1.7 million. And this source is probably old, so they're probably bigger
Probably
now.
updated. Either way, it's a big fucking party.
Yes.
Y'all, all of us have come a long way. We have a long way to go, for sure. But I want to voice a thank you to everyone who has sacrificed really their lives to have human rights for the LGBTQIA plus community. I know we try to be the best allies that we can be. And I could go on, but just wow.
But yeah, a lot of people have sacrificed a lot to be where we are now, and we cannot forget that there's still a very long way to go, and we're going to do our best to help. So my sources are history.com, britannica.com, civilrights.org, news.harvard.edu, academy4sc.org, them.us, pride.com, and usatoday.com. And happy motherfucking Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride. Don't forget, tomorrow we're recording with What the Gays Say. So check out their podcast, check out our Patreon, and check out our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I went blank there for a minute. I was like, oh yeah, we have social medias.
Yes. Rate, review, follow on Apple Podcasts. Tell your friends. And celebrate Pride. Donate to a human rights organization. Support LGBTQIA plus creators. And happy June, everybody. 3, 2, 1, class dismissed.